I'd like to call the Tuesday, July 7th, 2015 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Mrs. Butler, would you please take the roll?
Florence, Mumgard, Gaines, Glover, Jaworski, Klug, Stubbe, Ingberg.
Wanted to note that Councilman Mumgard's absent. He's representing Papillion's interest at another governing body's meeting. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
That is correct.
And a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. Mr. Hoynes, Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, begin my report this evening by advising you there's been a slight delay in the move date for the Public Works folks. They were hoping actually to be moving into their new home, if you will, this week, doing some punch list items. For those of you that have built a house, sometimes it just gets delayed, and it's analogous to that. So Marty just told me earlier this evening he's really keeping his fingers crossed that by the end of the month, first part of August, they can be moved in. But I think I'd previously reported it would be sooner, so I just wanted to brief you on that. This Thursday, council members, I'll be submitting to you and then obviously to the general public the proposed fiscal year budget for the upcoming year. I briefed you publicly a couple of different times on that. Again, please report, I think I shared with another council member, due in large part to the brain power, not mine, but you see to my right and left of staff members, we're able to submit a budget that doesn't have a property tax levy increase. And I think when you see it, you will see some fairly substantial projects moving forward for the future. It's a futuristic budget. I think I've referred to the mayor's kind of a generational budget. We're going through some changes, but the department heads worked really hard. Nancy, Chris, myself, the mayor worked really hard on this proposal to you. But again, we submit it to you for your review. And once the mayor submits it to you, that gives you several weeks even before it's introduced to provide input. So when you get that Thursday, a couple of things. We're trying to be electronic. It's a lot of work to create those books, but we'll certainly do it if you're more comfortable with paper. When you get your electronic version, if you simply reply and ask Nancy to give you a hard book, then she'll put that hard book together for you happily, right, Nancy? But we can get that to you by the end of the week, and then it won't be introduced officially, although it'll be readily available to the public if they want to review it at that point for the council input. The first meeting in August, public hearing, second meeting in August, third and final first meeting in September's the time frame. But I think that you'll be pleased with the work that those folks have put in on that. Comment on annexation. The annexation will be effective July 17th. We've been working with the county staff on transitional issues so that that expanded area will be in the city of Papillion officially on the morning of the 17th. I do want to publicly commend the county officials. They've been very good to work with in transition. There's, as you well know, developments in progress, and they've invited us to be active participants and input on those things. And so for everything negative you may be reading in the newspaper about what's going on, just internally, I think there's some really positive things at the staff level and even the county board level of realizing that this is actually going to take place. Conclude my report, Mr. Mayor. It may be midsummer, but Lori's sometimes doesn't feel like she's halfway through her summer. The triathlon is this Sunday. How many, Lori? How many years? 300 participants, but how many years? 10 maybe? 10 or 11 years in a row they've put that on, and so they'll do that. The criterium's coming up. What weekend, Mark, is that? The bike criterium? August 15th, and that will really be the end of our race series. But as you well know, we sandwiched in between there just a little event called Slide the City on August 1st, and so they're really working hard on all of that and running full speed ahead. So that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Stubbe. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Mr. Glover, did you want to poll one?
Yes, I would like to poll C5.
Item C5 is polled. Any council discussion? Please vote on everything except C5.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item C5, Resolution R15-0125, a resolution to approve special designated liquor licenses for Twisted Vine for a sip and walk event at the Faintest Breeze, Papillion Flower Patch, Dingman's Collision Center, Jean's Auto and Truck Service, Kajama's Boutique, The Bell Shops, Seifkin Contracting, Gray Salon, Your Country Connection, Weathered and Worn, and Papillion Antiques and Emporium on July 24, 2015 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R15-0125? Motion by Councilman Stubbe. Second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have proponents? The applicant's here. You want to come up and just share real quickly about the event? And if you'd introduce yourself for the record.
Absolutely. Bill A. Gardner with Twisted Vine, and also here on behalf of the Downtown Papillion Business Association. This will be our second event of this season of planned events for the Sip and Walk. Most recently, we held one about a month ago, and we had our largest attendance yet this season with 192 paid attendees. So we're planning for and hoping for right around that same number of people.
Largest attendance in the biggest downpour we've had, and everybody was still happy and
They
smiling.
had a blast. It was well managed, and everybody had a good time.
Can't say enough how we appreciate what the Downtown Business Association is doing. People aren't aware that the organization's only existed, I think, now about 2 years. It was about a year organizationally, came together in full force last year. And then for all intents and purposes, it's a mini chamber of commerce for the downtown businesses. So small business, of course, can't go it alone, so they can team up together and be that much stronger. And this is a really important event for both of them and the whole downtown revitalization and small town feel. I mean, it's an important thing. So appreciate all you guys are doing with that. Do you have any other proponents? Do you have any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you again. Next is item F1, Resolution R15-0118. This is a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a special use permit to allow skilled nursing services as a permitted use for the property legally described as part of Lot 79B, Cottonwood, generally located southwest of Cornhusker Road and 66th. The applicant is Daniel Malone, Omaha Senior Partners. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have proponents? And if you'd state your name for the record.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Daniel Malone, and I'm here to answer questions on behalf of the applicant, Omaha Senior Partners.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R15-0118? Motion by Councilman Ingberg. Second by Councilman Florence. Any council discussions or questions to the applicant? Please. Can you turn your mic on?
The location,
Southwest corner of Cornhusker and 66th.
so is there a building already on that corner? Or
There's a single-story, 10,000 square foot children's gymnastic,
yeah, okay.
and this is a split of that lot. They're extra long and wide lots, and this is the front part closest to the street.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council discussion? Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next, item F2, Resolution R15-0121, public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a Class C liquor license application for Northwoods Cheese House, LLC, doing business as Northwoods Cheese House, 320 North Washington Street, and a manager application for Christopher Evich. This is a public hearing. Applicant is here. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Do you have a motion to approve Resolution R15-0121? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Ingberg. Any council discussion? Mr. Evich, you want to take time maybe to give a little bit of a commercial since we got time and maybe what your plans are?
My name's Chris Evich, one of the owners over at Northwoods Cheese House. We wanted to bring in a cheese store for quite so many years, and of course the wine aspect we knew would go right along with it, and a lot of people asked for it. So we wanted to establish the cheese house and then work our way into serving the wines and the beers. We're going to start out with doing cheese platters on the patios that we built outside, and then work our way into small bistro style, specialty sandwiches, soup, salad, stuff like that going into fall and into winter. So,
done a nice job with that property too.
Thanks.
We were talking about the importance of downtown, and you guys are the ones putting the time and the investment in it, so thank you.
Yep, you bet. We're more than happy to do it. We're pretty pumped up about it.
Appreciate it. Any other council discussion or questions of the applicant? Please vote.
Six yeas, zero nays.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Next is item F3, Resolution R15-0124-1, a resolution to approve a temporary easement for the water transmission main from Grandview to 114th Street. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R15-0124-1? Motion by Councilman Glover. Second by Councilman Gaines. Do we have any proponents? Any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F4, Resolution R15-0129, a resolution to approve the appointment of Rebecca Sims as the library director. First of all, I'll call for a motion, and then I know we've got some proponents. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R15-0129? Motion by Councilman Ingberg. Second by Councilman Florence. I'll call for proponents. First of all, I'd like to invite the library board up, Mr. Schroeder. Before he speaks, I do want to note for the record that the library board did publish a meeting, official notice that there was a meeting, so they can have a quorum here and speak as a board. So I appreciate that. Mr. Schroeder. And for those that are maybe watching, Paul Schroeder is president of the library board.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we are very happy at this time to be able to present Mrs. Rebecca Sims as nominee for director of Sump Memorial Library. Mrs. Sims has all the qualifications that the board identified for that particular position, which includes a minimum of 2 years of administrative experience, 5 years supervisory experience with personnel, and also at least a level of Nebraska certificate for librarians. Her level is level 5, which is plenty. Mrs. Sims has a master's degree from Kent State University, a master's degree in library science, and was director of the Offutt Air Force Base Library for 16 years before it was closed due to budgetary restraints. Happy to present Mrs. Sims.
Thank you, sir. And I'll make a quick comment and ask some others to make comments as well as Ms. Sims. I just want to say how much I appreciate your leadership, Mr. Schroeder, as well as the whole board. The active nomination process, at least the part that I witnessed, was from a library board. Really, Mrs. McCalman and Ms. Montgomery spent a lot of time with that, actively working with Chris Myers. So thank you both for that as well. Appreciate the invitation of the library board that I got to participate a little bit too. That was not required, but that invitation was extended. And I did participate in the interviews of the top 2 candidates. Library board led the whole effort. They literally did a national search. And a serious national search. And the final 2, one was local, one was a national candidate. And I can tell you, at least from the interviews that I participated in, they made the right choice, and I fully support and concur with their choice. It's interesting that a national search led them to a local candidate. The best is in our backyard, and I think that says not only the case with the library, but a lot of what we do. I think we find our own candidates a lot of times. Right here in our backyard. So thank you very much. Do we have any other proponents? Ms. Sims, you want to? Oh, did Peggy? I believe Mrs. Montgomery wanted to. And if you'd state your name for the record as well.
I'm Peggy Montgomery, and I am a member of the Sump Memorial Board of Trustees. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Hoynes, Ms. Myers, other council members, on February 3rd this year, the City Council passed and approved Ordinance 1709, which changed Sump Memorial's Board of Trustees from a governing to an advisory board. You can understand that the board thought the transition would be difficult. We worried that our shifting decision-making to the city would not be in the best interest of the library employees and patrons. On February 2nd, Robin Clark resigned as director of the library. The Board of Trustees now needed to search for a replacement director. The 5-member board assigned 2 members, Susan McCalman and me, to oversee that search. The city offered the assistance of Christine Myers, whose selection turned out to be one of the best decisions made during the search. She was knowledgeable, available, and genuinely wanted our search to be successful. At our board's direction, we invited members of the community to assist us serving on a library director screening committee. Ms. Myers, Ms. McCalman, and I held 2 extremely productive meetings with John Erickson, Brian Moss, and Becky Crowfoot. They helped us review applications and create a screening grading grid at our first meeting. At the second meeting, we identified candidates who would advance to the interview process. Each candidate was interviewed by 2 board members and a representative of the city. These representatives were Mayor Black, Mr. Hoynes, and Ms. Myers. The 2 finalists were interviewed again by different board reps and different city reps. This process had a steep learning curve, but there were positive outcomes. They included bridges were mended between the city and the Sump trustees. The city became better educated about how the library functions. Hopefully, we have come to appreciate the board's knowledge, experience, and commitment. Candidates shared knowledge of new technologies, innovative programs, and services that hopefully we can adopt and offer Sump patrons. The board appreciated the availability of city staff to meet with us, answer our questions, and give us confidence that we were acting in compliance with city code. The board owes thanks to the following not previously noted: Richard Miller of the Nebraska Library Commission and Laura Rogers, Ms. Myers' secretary. We are excited to begin Ms. Sims' tenure. Moving forward, we as a board will work with her and the city to maintain and improve our library. By its location and by the services it provides, Sump Memorial will be viewed as a bright gem in the Monarch City crown.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other proponents? Do we have any opponents?
Might I add just a couple things here? As Peggy pointed out, we went to the community and had a search or a screening committee helped to screen the applications that did come in. So we did every effort we could to include the community in this whole process. And I think in the end that this has proven to be quite a good thing for us. And I would echo what Peggy said, that we are looking forward to having Mrs. Sims on the staff, and we would encourage each and every one of you as council members and as leaders within the city to make yourself known at the library. I'm sure that she'll be more than happy to welcome you and explain what happens in the library. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one other quick comment, then we'll have some council discussion and a vote, and then Ms. Sims will maybe ask you to share a few words as well. I just want to thank you for the words, Ms. Montgomery and Mr. Schroeder. The changes the last year or the last 6 months, probably some of the most difficult changes that the organization went through, and the city as well. Change is always hard in any organization. But I can honestly say that all of our decisions, and Mr. Hoynes mentioned it with Budget 2, we're always trying to think, how do we move from being that small town to being a large city? It's not unrealistic to say in a short period of time we could be a town of 90,000. And so how do you handle scale and grow to that level without losing who we are? And I honestly believe some of these functional, structural changes are all in that vein. So all I want to do is say thank you for as well for all the communication, and I think a lot of trust was reestablished through this process. We both probably still need to be growing in that, but I think there's a strong basis, and we both want the same thing. And so thank you very much as well. I think it's been a good experience for us, and we're better off because of it. Any council discussion? Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
That's unanimous approval. Would you like to share a few words, Ms. Sims?
My name is Becky Sims. I am the new Library Director of Summit Memorial Library for Papillion. I'm an 18-year resident of Papillion. And the interview process here, while extensive, gave me an opportunity to really get to know what the issues are here. About 7 hours of interview, and some of it was pretty tough. But I believe from having those interviews with a broad variety of people that I've gotten a very good idea of a way forward, where you want to go and how to marry that where libraries are going, so that we can have one of the best libraries of a small town in the country. And that's where I'd like to take us. I would like to encourage you to come to the library or to shoot me an email when I have an email address, because I would very much like to meet with everybody individually over the next couple of months and get to know what your concerns are and maybe how we can help you. Thank you.
I believe your husband's here. Would you like to just introduce him and maybe tell us a little bit about your family?
This is my husband, Tony Sims. He currently works at U.S. Strategic Command. He's my rock. It's been a bit of a rough ride because he's retired military, and that's tough. But it's also given me a lot of insight into how our community works. I have a son, Stephen, who just got married last year, and he and his wife just graduated from UNL and are, doing the job hunting thing. So we were job hunting together. We all bonded over that.
From what I understand, Tony's retired Navy?
Yes, he is.
So you've lived in a lot of places and done a lot of traveling.
We have, and we moved here from Hawaii. And one of my first experiences here with a Nebraskan taught me what genuine hospitality is. Hawaii is full of professional hospitality, but Nebraska is genuine, and that's why we decided to stay here. Lived in a lot of gorgeous places, but this is where we wanted to put down roots.
Man, I think that's important that you bring a lot of different perspectives here, so we are getting national insight with a local person. So,
yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And a huge thank you goes to Matt. You were the interim for that period of time. Stand up and be recognized, Matt. You did a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you again. Next is committee reports. I don't think any committees have met in the last couple of weeks. We do have a closed session item, but we'll do the comments just before that. Any comments from the floor? Any council comments? Just from the last couple of weeks, of course, we just came off Papillion Day, so thank you everybody for everything there. Tremendous weather. We had no windstorms, no tornadoes, and no rain on the parade, which is unusual. Also, thank you for the staff that have rallied around Lori and her department, Alex Shive's funeral, and the impact at the golf course. Actually been a crisis in Lori's world, and you guys have done a tremendous job on there, so thank you for that. And from what I understand, there will be a memorial, annual memorial golf for Alex, and there's some plans in the works to recognize them as well, so be watching for those and supporting those. The Parks and Rec Steering Committee has met. Will be they're meeting once a month. So if you have if you're not on that committee and you have questions about that, reach out to Mr. Hoynes and we can keep you updated on there. The Veterans Park Committee met again as well. The flagpoles, the American Legion and the Foundation were able to fund the flagpoles. And so those are on order, and the foundations I think are actually being placed. The idea of the panels for the wall where veterans can have their name on the wall was launched at Papillion Day. So if anybody has questions about how a Sarpy veteran can get their name on the wall, be sure to let us know. That's being run through the foundation, but we've got all the information. And we believe that the first panel will be placed in November in an official ceremony, so that'll be good. So, also with the flags, the Woodmen of the World donated flags. You know, we line 84th Street with American flags, and some of those were getting old. Woodmen of the World gave us all new flags for all of 84th Street, so that was huge. And they'll also be donating the flags for Veterans Park, and I believe they may be donating the flag for the new Public Works building when we dedicate that. So very, very nice partnership with Woodmen of the World. Also led a tour for economic development of the Midlands One Professional Building. That's the Class A office building connected to Midlands Hospital. There's quite a bit of office space that's available for lease, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. And so when headquarters and businesses are doing site selection, I think a lot of times they bypass Papillion because they think they have to build a new office building when we have really nice vacant space available. So we're raising awareness with a lot of community leaders of that space. And we had that tour last week. And then we had a meeting, budget meeting with Mr. Florence today, specifically talking Schramm Road, and we'll be updating folks on that as well. Two reminders, there's a ribbon cutting tomorrow, urgent care of Papillion, and that's at 4 o'clock. And then a reminder for the council, the library board's going through their strategic planning, and they requested input on the SWOT analysis. If you could fill that out and get it to them, I believe yet this week, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you have questions on that, reach out to Ms. Myers. She has the form that they're looking for the input on. I don't believe there's any other thing. We do have a closed session tonight, so is there a motion to go into closed session to protect the public interest to discuss potential litigation regarding annexation and jurisdictional issues? Motion by Councilman Florence. Second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
I will restate for the record the purpose for the closed session is to only discuss potential litigation regarding annexation and jurisdictional issues. The closed session will include the mayor, the city council, city administrator, assistant city administrator, city attorney, and city clerk. I'll restate the only topic discussed in closed session was potential litigation regarding annexation and jurisdictional issues. Is there a motion to come out of closed session? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Gaines. Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Glover, second by Councilwoman Klug. Please vote.
6 yeas, 0 nays.
We are adjourned.